Welcoming you to a life of awareness, the Presence Project is excited for you to join us for today's podcast with your host, Paul Kersner.
Hello and welcome to episode 8 of Are You Being Present? My name is Paul Kersner. I want to welcome you to the present moment. I want to welcome you to the here and now. And I want to thank you for taking a little time out of your day to listen to this podcast. It is my pleasure to introduce Daniel Hirtz, who will be today's guest host. He is a musician, healer, teacher, and entrepreneur. The question that I'd like to present to Daniel is, what does being present mean to you?
What does being present mean to me? First of all, I like to say this is a very big question, a very important question, and a question with very far-reaching implications. Having said that, the first thing is that there's never anything else than the present moment, no matter how we think about it. Even if we are not present, which means we are caught in an automatic thinking behavior, emotional behavior, whatever it may be, even if that happens, we're still only present because there's never anything else than this present moment. Or is there? Ask yourself, can you ever be anywhere else than in this present moment? And the deeper you look into that, the more you see that it's absolutely impossible to be anywhere else. Okay, so if we have established that, then what would potentially hinder us to fully be present in this moment? Well, beside of the fact that I can consciously recognize that I'm engaging, as I'm trying to be in this present moment, that I'm engaging in, let's say, what many of us do is extensive thinking, very, very busy mind. And so if when I try to be just in the present moment, my mind will take me into the worries about my future, or the regrets of the past, or the commenting about all of this, how it should be, or a million different directions. And every one of us knows exactly how that feels like. Now, for me, the biggest thing that's present, especially right now to me in a very, very big way, is that we as human beings, we live sort of in the dream of our history, both individually and collective. When I say the dream of our history, then it is a very, very convincing dream. It's a dream that plays to us as if it is actually reality, while it's actually a dream. Reality could be anything. Reality is what our habits and our conventions have decided to be so. And so it could be a different reality. We could live in a very, very different one. And so if I make a little excursion from the present moment into a little bit commenting on our present time, then I believe we are in a very bad dream in a sense. We have, in some way you could say, we have been stolen half of the totality of life to a very big degree, so that most of us have very limited access to the inner world and live very, very externalized, live in a sense a life that constantly tries to get something from the interaction between what we call the me, my inside, my inner sensations, my sensation of myself in the relationship to the world. And we are engaged in it almost in every waking moment. And then some of us try to sit down and meditate or do something of that nature in order to regain some access to a fuller understanding of our lives, to a fuller presence, in the present moment. And for the majority of us, that's a very difficult process. For the majority of us, in the moment we sit down and do that activity, we get the sense of being, uncomfortable, because there's so much going on the inside. It's not a pleasant feeling to get silent and just sit there, unless we do this for some while, and then that may start to be a little bit easier. But for the majority of us, to be in this present moment and to attempt to do this requires a lot of courage. And I think that's one of the key words I want to highlight here. Are you being present? Yes, if you have the courage to do so, then what will start happening is that reality, that dream that we all have sort of engaged in, will start unravel itself. And if we care to stay with it for long enough, which is a measure I want to come back to in a moment. Time really doesn't play a role in it, but let's just stay there for a moment. So if we do this for long enough, we start to become aware of sensations, of aspects of our experience of the present moment that we were before not aware of. So, for example, we could just sit and observe the present moment, and a certain sadness comes up. It just simply literally comes up in our awareness. Sadness, anger, depression, pain. And for the most part, for many of us, it is first a lot of different forms of uncomfort, including sleepiness, unconsciousness, all kinds of sensations that kind of almost feel like they want to derail us from being present in this moment. But what actually is going on is that because we attempt to be present in the moment, those things come up. And those are the things that keep us away from being present in this moment. Well, after the human potential movement, Sigmund Freud, and then the human potential movement, and everything that's going on in human consciousness, I believe we are at a moment in time where we realize that our inner world almost has been stolen from us, and it has been replaced with a cultural story and lots of pain from the past that we haven't taken care to clean up. Past that both plays out individually in the form of what many people would call birth trauma, negative sentences that we made up in our childhood about us. I'm insecure, I'm this or that, I'm shy, I'm introvert, or whatever the version is you came up about yourself that helps you to better get along with you. That could be playing in ideas of parental disapproval and things of that nature. All kinds of traumatic, small or little events that we have kind of tucked away in our inside for hopefully a later point in life to get to, and many times we never get to it. We live unconscious of that for the rest of our lives. But then when we care to go through all of that, then we realize there's more. And we realize there's more and more and more. And as we dig deeper and deeper and deeper into that illusionary part of us that is simply an echo from the past, or you could call it garbage from the past, we realize that we're not only dealing with our individual past, and it's confirmed by many research organizations today that realize that the unprocessed pain of the past that our parents gave to us is still running us. And so it becomes a really adventurous engagement that ultimately lead us to each other and to the realization that we're in deep, deep need of a different culture that reflects of yet a deeper reality that we're maybe getting to if we care to stay with this process for the rest of our life, in a sense. And that is to come to a true sense of love and appreciation of our life here, of our tremendous, tremendous opportunity to be with each other, of this incredible experience of having a body on this planet, and the amazing thing a body is. And all of that is tangible and accessible for us in this present moment, but only if we cleanse, in a sense, that pain of the past that has been bottled up in us for so long time. And then we discover that the degradation of our environment, the degradation of social justice, the degradation of our societies in terms of integration and deep community and full community with each other, and all that is a spitting image of that part in us that has been shut down. And so, like commerce has taken over almost all of our relationships, and we only relate in worlds that externalize that connection in the form of commerce and economic activity and jobs and all that, which we do all day long. The same thing has happened to our inner world. It has been occupied with old, repetitive behavior patterns that for many of us are completely unconscious. And as soon as they trigger emotion and behaviors and responses that have nothing to do with being present, but with automatic behavior, that only those who have the courage to dispel those will engage in realizing that there's something going on a deeper level in us that make us respond to life in a very predictive and automatic way. And so I want to praise, in ending here, anybody who engages in the courage of our inner world, in whatever way you do it, through meditation. I'm a great fan of conscious deep breathing, full breathing. I think the most amazing substance of our world here is oxygen. It connects us to all the other living beings that produce it, to the trees, the oceans, and all the other beings that breathe with us. And it's the most amazing adventure for me over the last 30 years to deeper and deeper understand the magic of my breath and the magic of what it does to my consciousness. And there could be involved hallucinogenic substances that commonly are called drugs, but they're actually always been there with us in the development of our conscious and development of becoming self-reflective beings. And so whatever you do to take the courage of your heart and to become present, I praise you for that. I thank you for that. I deeply feel you and I connect you. And with every step that we make together, we may not see yet how deeply we are one, how deeply we are connected, and how deeply we are currently building sort of a momentum of the inner world that points to a singularity event that may be possible, or I'm actually quite sure of it, that may be sort of like an inner nuclear peaceful explosion of consciousness on the inner scope, on the inner landscape of humanity, that will help those that have very, very closed hearts and are very, very closed amongst us in this world, to help those to cut through their illusion of wealth and power and all that into a much, much rewarding way of life, which is a life in community and connection, and a life of an awakened humanity that unleashes our incredible creativity and our incredible love for each other. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel, for taking your time to talk about what being present means to you. I want to thank everyone for listening to this podcast. If you're interested in learning a little bit more about Daniel, you can visit his website, danielhirtz.com. That's DanielHirtz.com. If you get a moment, please check out our website, www.areyoubeinpresent.com, and consider joining our Facebook group, which is also called Are You Being Present? Thank you for joining us, and have an amazing day.
Thank you for listening to the Are You Being Present podcast, brought to you by the Presence Projects. Remember, you have a choice. Choose to be present.